Hello, welcome to this on-demand event today. My name is John. I'm here from UniTasterDays. With these events, we introduce you to studying different subjects at university. And today is the turn of esports. And I'm delighted to say Iain is joining us from the University of Salford as our resident expert to do just that. So, Iain, today we're going to be talking about esports. Do you mind if I just start by asking you, ultimately, why might students be interested in studying esports at university?
Well, esports is massively engaging young people, young communities, grassroots communities across the world. And it's an area of growth. It's an area that's emerging as a real industry kind of heavyweight that's, providing very, very important revenues for economies. And young people are kind of flocking to esports and to online gaming in droves. It really is a kind of cultural phenomena. But there's a lot of areas that are kind of a little bit hidden, a little bit dark sometimes. And, it's important for young people to be fully aware of the kind of industry, in terms of, what it does, what it means, who it's associated with, and that kind of thing. Knowledge is power in my opinion there.
Right
Is that
then,
all right?
let's talk about kind of what to expect on it. So in terms of like a student now is interested, watching this, interested in finding out more about esports and is then thinking, what, it sounds really interesting, and it does sound really interesting. What can they expect in terms of the actual program?
So the actual program has been designed alongside industry and alongside the community. So what we did is we went to the community and asked them what they wanted from a course, and then we went to industry and asked them what they wanted from graduates. And what we found was that practical skills are really, really sought after. So what we've developed is a program that focuses on practical skills over kind of academic ability. Yes, academic ability is still important. We are a university, but what's more important is being able to give learners hands-on practical applications of real life kind of environments they might encounter in industry. So we've written this very closely with industry, kind of identifying the pathways that they're looking for in terms of the skills, everything from marketing, operations, content creation, and many, many business kind of aspects in order so that when they arrive in the industry as graduates and as professionals for the first time, they're kind of skilled to the extent where they can start strong and they can sustain their career from that very fundamental point.
The students are watching this, they're perhaps early in their research. They don't yet know kind of where they want to study. Do you reckon that is the same now, that kind of hands-on learning by doing approach is would be the same kind of at every university that offers esports, or do you reckon that's more
It
sort of
depends really on what the university is offering. There are some courses which are sort of demanding high sort of academic achievement, and there are other courses like ours which focus a little bit more on the practical side of things. Ultimately, what it's about is letting learners find their own sort of pathway as such. We never see a student come in the first year and decide they're a marketeer, they're a content creator, they're a shoutcaster. What we try and do is we try and give all of our learners a little bit of a taster of every element that you would normally see within an esports business, and then let them choose. There are opportunities within a couple of the modules, for example, event tournament live project, where we basically get the students to stream a 2 hour broadcast. And we generally kind of let the students find their own roles within that particular activity, whether it's running the visual desk, whether it's shoutcasting, whether it's organizing players, whether it's undertaking the marketing activities to promote the event, anything that they feel that they have a real kind of passion and interest for. We try and sort of guide them down that pathway, but let them experience lots of other things as well, because you never know. You might think that this is what I want to do, and you encounter or engage in something different, and you find you really have a passion for it. So yeah, absolutely. We're all about letting students experiment, letting them find their own pathway. We never like to pigeonhole anyone from the start.
so say now students watching this thinking, what, esports sounds really interesting. Do you mind if we just move on a little bit and talk about applications? And obviously,
Absolutely, yeah.
you're here from Salford, so you joining us kind of with this Salford perspective. It'd be great to kind of get that, but also the everywhere else as well. That if students want to apply for a course like esports or maybe esports itself, any tips when it comes to applications or what you like to see in students and stuff?
Early applications are always good. Early applications always get looked at first, and obviously, we're not sure of what the BTEC or A-level results are going to be at the end of it, but certainly early application is always welcome because it allows us to be able to identify who is coming and provide some sort of like preliminary support for them. I think just generally, just have, demonstrate your passion when you're applying. So much of this industry is driven by the passion of young people, the passion of the grassroots communities who want to engage and want to immerse themselves with all of the wonderful kind of facets of esports. And it's just, try and communicate that passion, get a little bit of experience under your belt, even if you've run really, really sort of small scale kind of tournaments with your mates or with your little team, highlight that, show us what you've done already, in esports, even if it's just on a really casual basis, like, oh, on Saturday nights, me and my mates get online, we open up a channel and we just play Valorant, all night. That's great. That's the kind of sort of engagement and passion that we would seek within our students. Someone who is, who is loving doing it anyway and wants to learn more about how they can turn that passion into a profession.
I suppose, Ian, that's the dream in it. We want to be doing jobs that is something we ultimately do enjoy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is the thing, it's I always say, find something that you really, really love. I was lucky in that I discovered music quite early on, which kind of pushed me sort of like for many years. So no, absolutely. Turning your passion into a paid hobby is always the dream.
Yeah, right. So, which actually gives me really nice link to the last thing I was going to ask you about, Ian, and that's careers. So, in terms of like what students go on to do, if we look at esports and related areas, do you mind? I know it's very probably broad and wide opportunities. It's not one of those university courses that lists linked to one job. It might be many, but do you mind just giving us an overview of potential careers that
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's all kinds of careers within various different sort of elements. So, quite commonly marketing is kind of like a very popular career that people kind of want to go into. But marketing's quite an in-depth and broad kind of subject area. So, you have to be prepared to really sort of like work at that. But in terms of actual, areas, tournament organization, team management, shoutcasting, influencers, PR, those kind of areas, but also kind of within operations. So, for example, event operations, what we're seeing a lot of hybrid events. So basically events that are broadcast online and are actually taking place in a physical venue. So there is always people who need to work at these spaces, as far as event crew. And there's lots of different education's a key one. Two of our tutors basically came from Staffordshire's esports program, and have basically stepped right into sort of like the education pathway and look for areas that are kind of growing and emerging. So at the moment there is a big focus on kind of freelance working. So, it's about a lot of enterprise, it's about a lot of innovation. It's coming up with unique ideas that sort of support the industry, support the community, and drive it forward. So there's a very, very big sort of a wide range of careers that kind of also filter into other areas, other STEM subjects like computing technology, event management, computing science, game development, game design, and that kind of thing. What you find is it's within traditional business disciplines, but specializing in specific areas. And the further you kind of go away from the hub, the more specialist that you become. So, the more specialized that you can be, the chances are the more work you're potentially going to have. If you are, for example, like a really good broadcaster, able to kind of run a live studio, with multiple camera points and, multitasking and, basically running the show, then that's a key skill to have. And the more specialized you become within that as you develop within your career, the more sort of opportunities that you will find will come your way.
and I'm glad I didn't Google it because I'd have been Googling the wrong thing.
That's
Um,
okay. That's okay.
what a brilliant, interesting conversation. Ian, I've really enjoyed this. So the final thing for me
No
is
problem.
a big thank you. Ian Earle joining us from Salford University talking about esports. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you very much, John. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.